the story of moving abroad under the 1822 law. I recently turned 20, and at the beginning of the war, I was 16. Like almost everyone else, I was highly motivated about the future of our country. At 17, I was already in contract with one of the military units about joining after turning 18. But during that period between 16 and 18, I still needed to do something with my life. At 16, I went to work in construction. As a general laborer, I was paid 515 USD, $30 per day, for pretty difficult, dirty, and sometimes very dangerous work. But I didn't get discouraged because I understood it was only temporary. I worked there for half a year, but barely earned anything, because part of the money went to my parents, part went toward living expenses, and so on. At the same time, I was studying online at my educational institution. Closer to turn 18, I realized there was no point in trying to join the service without money, because everyone around me kept talking about poor supplies in the army, even when it came to basic necessary things. So I decided to move to Lviv to earn more money. I thought a big city would give me the chance to live normally and at least save something. At first, I was supposed to rent a place together with a friend, but that didn't work out. So after arriving, I had to quickly find a job, preferably with accommodation included, because I was staying in very cheap hostels. Eventually, I managed to get a job at a decent hotel as a waiter with housing provided, better than nothing. But the number of working hours and the pay honestly scared me. From 7:20 in the morning until 22:23 with a fixed salary of 900 USD, $22 per shift. Still, I thought tips plus some bonuses would probably make it at least somewhat reasonable. The housing situation was, to put it mildly, terrible. Peeling walls, old furniture, and a thing inside a teeny room. There was nowhere to cook food, and the toilet and shower were shared. I worked like that for half a year. That moved into something closer to a bartender position. Thought in really it was more like a senior waiter, but the working conditions kept getting worse. Just like the attitude toward us. There was humiliations, and you could even say they stole from us through the percentages from banquets and similar things. And there was constant physical labor too, unloading trucks with furniture, vegetables, chemicals, carrying hundreds of chairs and tables between floors again and again. Probably make it at least somewhat reasonable. Hundreds of people and less conferences that were almost never properly paid for overthrow the workload and peace were absolutely insane. And because of the specific type of venue, we practically had no tips at all. Sometimes we didn't even make 500 USD in tips over an entire month. We worked $315–600 a month while being treated basically like slaves. Sometimes they wouldn't even allow us to eat once during the whole day because there were too many guests, while they themselves calmly sit there having lunch. The management felt straight up criminal. I was honestly shocked that in modern times people like racketeers, enforcers, problem solvers, and similar types still exist. Together with the owner, they openly discussed how great it was to beat their wives and things like that. Honestly, I constantly wanted to die, because at the same time I was trying to find other jobs, but salaries around is $315–600 in the center of Lviv, when you have to spend almost all of that on rent and utilities. Felt hopeless. I had nowhere to run. Every attempt to find online work ended in scams. I freelanced in other places too, and overall the situation was pretty much the same, maybe slightly better, but still not worth switching jobs for. Meanwhile, I finished my studies and realized that with a degree in computer engineering, I probably wouldn't be able to find work anywhere. At the same time, I watched slightly older friends of mine die one after another being forcibly mobilized. Young guys, I heard and saw their tears before death because of what they had already gone through and because they were treated like cannon fodder. That was the moment I fully realized I truly had nothing left to fight for in this country. Absolutely nothing. Laws don't work. Salaries are on the level of some African countries, while prices are practically practically European. My employers will never be punished for anything because they have money, and some of them have power too, while their own children peacefully live their normal lives all the war. And I was suffocating from helplessness. When this law project was introduced, I immediately made up my mind, gathered my miserable savings and left for Germany, where for the first time I actually felt like a human being. Right now I am on social support while attending language courses. After that I plan to continue my education. The job center itself is asking me to look for the next educational path because I am still under 25, and finally start working and living with dignity, the same way my friends here already do. That's why, with all my heart, I hate the Ukrainian political system. It will never change for the better. People have been dying for this for decades. Yet life remains just as terrible as it was before the war, during it, and after it. What thoughts and emotions did this confession bring up for you? Please write in the comments. You bring the subscription, I'll bring the like. Don't forget to check out the new videos and find us on social media.